Hello YouTube. Here's my little chameleon. I got a lot of question about people asking feeding routines with chameleons, so I'm gonna show you what is my feeding routine with these little guys. Sunbeam is a Panther Chameleon. He is right now about 5 months old. He's freezing because he doesn't like the camera. Once he get over it, he's gonna move again. I try to mix some different feeders every day. So I will have like crickets today and then super warm tomorrow, that kind of stuff. And I have 2 chameleons. I noticed that one of them only eat crickets. In fact, this guy, Sunbeam, will only pick all the crickets out and leave all the worm behind. So he's still not into the move of eating worms yet. Violet, for example, my girl, she'll eat super worm, she'll eat crickets, she'll eat waxworm. Basically, she's not a very picky eater. You put it in front of her, she'll probably eat it. She does show preference though. She'll have a preference over worm than crickets, but that could just because, you know, she just started eating worms, so she just, you know, something new kind of deal. Now that has been a month now, they've been introducing different kind of feeders. She tend to like worms still, but she won't pick and choose crickets either. She'll kind of eat crickets today and then she'll eat worm tomorrow. She's not too picky about that. It took a while though for me to get there, so don't feel bad if your chameleon have the same issue. Alright, so Sunbeam usually get up in the morning. I will give them 1 hour or 2 hours to warm their body up, and then after that I'll put him in this feeding cage. The reason why I like to use feeding cages, let me just show you. It looks like a regular cricket bean with some cricket food inside, and I'll put like probably 8 to 12 crickets in there. And yeah, he got scared because of the lenses. This camera has the cover lens, so he's kind of scared when they just swing towards him. So I'll put him in this feeding bin for about 15 minutes, however long it takes him to hunt for 15 minutes. Now, when he was younger, he ate very slow. I had to leave him there half an hour for him to eat the correct amount of food or enough food for him to go through the day. So this is his signal of I'm done. I would like to get out. So then I just put my hand underneath him. You'll see that he'll figure it out. He would just climb up. There you go. So once he finished eating, I will gently pick him up like this. Usually 10-15 minutes all it takes. Chameleon does get stressed quite easily, so I try not to startle him while he was eating. Between the 10-15 minutes, he has complete peace. And then once I notice he eat enough, which is in this stage about 8 to 12 crickets a day, then I'll offer my hand to let him climb out. So you can see he's not happy with this camera. Usually he climb out very, very slowly, and then he'll very calmly and crawl in his cage. But today, because I'm holding camera, he think I'm crazy. It's like, Mommy, what is that? Scary, scary shit. So he's gonna walk away and hide himself now. So, a couple things. Number 1, try to give them as much feeder as you can. Number 2, try to measure or count how many feeder they're eating a day. It's good for them rate of growth wise, because you don't want to feed them too much one day and too little the other. That way they don't grow at a steady rate. And with not steady rate grow, there's a couple issues that come along with it, including joint issues and longevity, that kind of stuff. And with them, the reason why I have feeding cages, because chameleons in general don't like to be handled. I'm sure you have heard it lots of times. And a lot of people have trouble taming the chameleons. And, you know, if you're living in Canada like me, where you cannot put your chameleon outside and sunbathe every day, where they can cool in your hand and go outside to give them some positive reinforcement about your hand. So then you have to do it every day on a daily basis with food. It's a very short trip between his cage to the food cages, but it does make a huge difference throughout the months. And for the 2-3 months we've been together, he has got a lot braver. And don't forget, there's only a 5-month-old baby, so that's pretty advanced. And yesterday I actually did a little experiment. I put a cricket between my fingers and see if he would take it. He actually took it straight from my hand yesterday. So that's pretty good for baby chameleons, because baby chameleons in general are very jumpy little things. And then on top of that, I like a couple of things I like about feeding cages versus feeding inside their habitat. As you can see, my habitat has a mixture of fake plant and real plant. So that one in the back there is a real plant. These are fake ones here. When you have crickets inside their containment or their little cages here, the cricket will chew on your stuff, and they'll also dig and burrow into the soil of these leaves and plant pots in there. And I really don't like that. I like my plants to be nice and clean. I like my plants to be happy. I like my plants to look beautiful. So I try not to put any crickets in there for a number of reasons, destroying my cage. Number two, I can't really monitor how much is he eating, because he may be eating 5 and then the other 3 is hiding somewhere between these decorations. So I can't really count how many is he having, and half the time the crickets would die inside the cage, so I lost quite a bit of crickets just on, you know, death alone. So there you go. There's my couple major reason why I don't like having crickets in the enclosure. Now, some people say, well, it's a good hunting instinct for them. It's good for them to spend all day hunting for food, which is natural for them. But honestly, if you're buying a chameleon, you're putting them at homes, it's already not natural for them. And if you want to be able to handle them and have them nice and calm, it's also not natural for them. For them to move to Canada from Madagascar is also not natural for them. So I have a little bit merit about, is it really what you want for being natural? Or do you really want to enjoy a pet and appreciate your pet? That's basically your call. But for me, I found that if I'm going to keep an animal and I'm going to give him a good home, I get it from a good breeder, I get it from captive bred, I don't get him from the wild, then I have certain respect and certain responsibility to how to take care of my animal the best I could inside a non-natural setting. So again, I will go through a setup and everything else about chameleons, but this one is major for feeding and answering questions about feeding outside of cages. Alright, have a good day. Thank you for watching.